Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here, and this is the Astrological Winds channel. I'm going to take a look at the astrological weather report for the week of August 14th through 20th, and the big feature this week is we have a new moon in Leo at about 24 degrees of Leo, and it is in an exact or partile square to Uranus in Taurus. So that is going to be some big changes coming in and acting out at the same time with a Mars trine Uranus. So some very, very big leaps forward, possibly even in this week's energy. And a couple other things I'll talk about too. But first off, I just want to let you know the Astrological Winds channel is a free video blog that I do weekly on YouTube. So if you have a YouTube account and you like the blog, you can become a follower. And then once you become a follower, be sure that your notifications are on, and then you'll know when I post the blog, which is usually each Monday since it's a weekly report. And astrological weather report, not a meteorological weather report, although sometimes the astrology mixes in with that, and we talk about that, don't we? Anyway, it's also available on all kinds of podcasts, and the video is mainly just me talking to the camera, so really no need to see the video while you're listening to the podcast. So if you'd rather not use YouTube, it's available on about 20 different podcasts. It's distributed through Buzzsprout, and all you got to do is look up Astrological Winds channel, and you should be able to find it. Check out Apple iPodcasts, something like that, and you'll find it on there. Also, I post the link on Instagram. Instagram, I do have a page for the Astrological Winds channel. So once again, if you use Instagram, you can actually just look that up and become a follower. And remember, it's a free service. So what I ask every week is that you pay it forward by passing the link on to somebody else. And if you've done that already, and there's someone else that you think of in your contacts or you've come across recently might be interested in it, please pass the link on to them. Astrology is definitely, over 50% of the world is interested, has some interest in astrology these days. So it's not, it's something that's pretty popular right now in the world, and not going out on a limb to pass it on. And, if you'd like to give a donation, that's really cool too. No amount is too small. I have a Venmo handle. It's at, that symbol at, the A with the circle, and then Matthew with a capital M, 2 T's in Matthew, and a hyphen, Lawton, L-A-U-T-E-N with a capital L. But the best way you guys could support me otherwise, besides passing that link on, is I am a professional astrologer, and I've been doing readings professionally for over 20 years, had 7 years of training to do that. So I would love to do your chart, or or someone and if you've never had your chart done professionally before, it'll be quite a different experience than just checking something out online or reading a book or something. It's a much more holistic experience. So when you're ready for that, or if you know someone who's ready for that, just drop me an email at matthue823@gmail.com. That's matthue823@gmail.com, and we'll start that process up. All right, let's get to this week, and just before we get into the new moon, which is Monday, today, Venus retrograde, remember? In fact, just is right at the middle of that cycle. If you remember from last week's blog, yesterday, Sunday, was when Venus had the second conjunction to the Sun during the retrograde cycle, which we call the inferior conjunction. So we're right in the middle of the Venus retrograde cycle, and you can refer back to the last few blogs about more information on that. But my point is today, Monday, Venus retrograde trines Chiron for the second time in this. So this is the second hit of that. And what's interesting about that is, if you'll remember from last week's blog, we had a Sun trine Chiron this past weekend on Saturday. And really, I think most likely, most of us had some kind of good experiences with others, and just like that we're healing, that we learned stuff. So we had some good interactions, most likely with others this past weekend, that helped us, just really felt good for us, was good for our, our how we felt about ourselves and what we're doing, and things like that. And this is kind of like a continuation of that energy, the Venus trining Chiron today. It really shows that, first of all, with Venus retrograde, that a lot of that energy that came in this past weekend, that felt good, that felt healing, that helped us like feel good about the energy of who we are and the talents and abilities we have and how we can share that with others in the world. There was some, probably some fulfilling stuff there. Well, this Venus retrograde that Chiron shows that most likely it was once again people who we've been connected to for a while, who we have longer term relationships or older relationships with. And since it's a very supportive energy, I think really what that's showing is when you know each other so well for so long, people naturally what's helpful to them, and they know reciprocally what's helpful to you. So we have this really nice energy continuing, I think, especially in older relationships where, we've known each other a long time and can really be able to support one another, who we are uniquely, and give and receive easily under this energy. So I think it's like going to be a continuation of that kind of energy. It really, it also, I think is another thing that it does is it kind of helps us slow down a little bit and just appreciate life, like really just take in some of the beauty that's just around us, and get some sense of satisfaction or fulfillment or healing from just that, and just kind of like slowing down and absorbing some of the beautiful things that are just around us. So a really nice energy today, continuing off that trine. So just think about what good connections you had that felt supportive this past weekend, and see if that's like going to continue with this energy. Okay, so Tuesday is the new moon at about 24 degrees of Leo. And since the new moon's in Leo, once right away we know like the ruler of the moon is actually the sun, the new moon, because it's Leo. And since the sun and moon are conjunct one another, it's kind of like, it's a very pure new moon. It's not being interfered with too much other energy. There's no other planet that's ruling that and is the lord of that new moon. It's actually the sun is. So, and they're conjunct, so they're acting together. But it is very tightly square Uranus, which is actually slowing down and getting ready to go retrograde next week. So Uranus is in a very strong position right now, and it's what we call a partile square because it's in the same degree as the new moon. They're both at about 24 degrees. So this is a very, very tight square, and square energy brings up a lot of tension, a lot of like having to react to things that are very, that bring up our stress levels and are full of tension. And so what I'm going to tell you guys right away with this energy, because it's the new moon, so it is impacting, the whole planet, and certain areas will obviously be more susceptible to it. And it's a cycle too. Remember, the new moon is a cycle of a month, but what I want everyone to, just be aware of and prepare for, with this square to Uranus so tight, there are going to be a lot of shocking events in society, in civilization, on the earth. This next month, there could be a lot of like very big natural disaster things. There can be a lot of like just drama going on between countries and leaders and movements and different. So like all that stuff that's been going on, and we know it's been going on for a long time. Really, the Pluto and Capricorn cycle, I've talked about this for a long time, that started back in 2007-8 area, has really culminated now, in the world, and really, like, China, the United States, and Russia, the three big powers of the world. All of their charts are highly under the influence of the end of this, like, Pluto and Capricorn age, and since they're big players, like, they create a lot of, like, tension and stress for the citizens of the world, and because of the movements they make. So all that stuff, you can see it in all three of those countries. Things have really built up to, like, these wild, chaotic, quick changes going on nonstop. So we can expect that stuff to even be, like, more intense the next month, and, like, natural disasters. Uranus is the ruler of natural disasters. New moon is when the gravity is very, very strong, one of the two times that the gravity is very, very strong. So this is a time when natural disasters are much more prevalent in triggering energy, where they can really happen, like, earthquakes, big storms, things like that, volcanoes. And I mean, let's just look at Hawaii, what's happened in the last days and a few days in Hawaii, as we've gotten closer and closer to this new moon. So this is that is a perfect example of the moon and sun square Uranus, like an event that can happen very quickly, and you just have to react to it. You don't really have time to do any processing, so it's a very, very, very intense. So that's one thing we can right away expect, not only this week, but through the new moon cycle, that all these events that are related to, like, weather, climate change, natural disasters, the wars going on, the disagreements, the political comeuppance, the political disagreements within countries, all that stuff is going to roil and get even more intense and impulsive and reactionary, and just, like, suck many of us in our personal lives into something that's bigger, that we can't control, that can bring in a lot of quick change. I mean, and when we get down to this in our personal lives, that's what this energy is all about. It's about very rapid changes happening. And to me, when there's a stressful aspect with Uranus on a personal level, for all of us, it really depends on what your attitude is about change, how that affects you, how much that affects you. If you're someone who resists change, who finds change disturbing, annoying, irritating, stressful, then the new moon square Uranus is likely going to be very triggering, because there is going to be changes going on around you in your personal life that are forcing you to, change some of the things that you may not want to change, or that you find disturbing to do so, emotionally disturbing, and so, if that's what your attitude is, this energy can be very, very tense for you, like, because you're resisting that change. In fact, it's interesting because Uranus also represents rebelliousness, and that's like, that hat can be worn on either side of the change equation. If you're resisting change, then you're rebelling against it, right? But if you're one of these people who wants change, this kind of energy will ratchet up very impulsive, reactionary actions to go out and force that to happen. And in both these cases, there's inner turmoil emotionally going on. It's like, once again, what is our attitude about that? on how each of us individually reacts and does things to that. So like I said, if we're resisting change, then our attitude is like to try to hold on, control the situation, get really angry, upset. If we're someone who's like, I am sick of the way things are in this situation that's going through the changes. And remember, what you want to do is look at where 24 degrees is in your chart, whatever house that is in your chart. That's the area of life where you're going to probably see these big changes. But anyway, if you're someone who's sick of whatever's stuck in that area and you feel like it's restricting you, it's inhibiting you somehow, it's taking away from your freedom and ability to be who you are, then this square to Uranus, you're going to be the person who's the agent of change. You're going to be the one who's rocking the boat. You're going to be the one who goes out there and acts impulsively and will, don't really care if it's, dragging along others who, especially if they're ones who are the ones you sense are blocking you. If anything, it's almost like, you want to shake them up. So once again, it's rebellious energy, but what is our attitude towards change, in the situation that this is triggering in our lives? Is it something that we're trying to not allow to change? Then this is going to be highly disturbing because there's going to be changes coming in. And what that means is it's going to get us angry and upset with other people who we see that represent that change or the situation that we see. And what we can do is, like I said, try to control and hold on. Or, if it's the other way around, where you're the one who's trying to force the changes on, you can do this in a very impulsive, reactionary way. And frankly, you can regret quickly what you did because there's like a lot of energy that you quickly can put out without processing what that actually can mean with this energy. So it's a very, very impulsive energy on that side. And what the point is like, inside there's inner turmoil either way, so it's going to manifest outside in one way or another, and most likely is going to be, like I said, in that area of your chart where, that part of your life where that conjunction is, whatever house that is, that's going to probably be. So it's like 10th house, then it's going to probably be something with your career, or something that's public in your life, and so on. So, it's really, really very interesting, but it's like, that's what this is all about. There are going to be changes. There's going to be rapid changes in our personal lives, in the world, and, they're going to bring stress up. But really those changes are meant to push us to new areas, to break us through things that are stopping us to getting to another point, and have to shake us up. But it's very condensed energy. It happens very quickly and in a very large amount of energy in a short amount of time. So it's like very, very intense how that happens. Now, what's interesting is, like I said, no ruler of this new moon, because the ruler is the sun, which is part of the new moon. But we do have two other aspects on Tuesday also, and one of them also is Uranus related. Mars is exactly trine Uranus on the same day as the new moon. And I think this is really, really good, actually. I think this really will help us realize we need to change right now, that we want to bring change into our lives, that, this will take this energy of wanting to allow change in, and can combine that energy, like an ambitious and confident energy about bringing change in, that we know we've reached a point where we don't really want to stay where we are any longer. And this gives us the ability to make a great leap forward in a very short amount of time. It is a very focused, concentrated blast of energy. It's kind of like almost like a laser beam heating something up really quick, and then moving energy very, very quickly. So it's a burst of energy, but like there's this like enthusiasm and confidence and a willingness to take risks, a courage that we may not normally have, that can mix together really well and carry the day. And even people or situations that try either knowingly or unknowingly to stop us, we won't let them do it. Like we just like are just like in such a like positive or optimistic frame of mind about wanting to make that we won't let them take our enthusiasm away, that we're gonna really try to push this energy, and it's interesting too, because like to me, the other aspect that's going on is Mercury quincunx Chiron on the same day. And to me, that shows that what really may be the root to blocking any ability to change or causing changes to occur because there's inner turmoil about resisting or not resisting change, that the root of that is really Mercury quincunx Chiron shows that the root of that is really in our mental attitudes about it. It's really something we've adopted in our own attitudes. And what we really need to do is redefine that attitude first before we can allow that change to come in. If we can redefine the attitude that we have about change and start to separate ourselves from old ideas that at this point are really actually self-inhibiting, like the thought is attached to the emotion here, right? So the thought is actually the thing that's giving the resistance emotionally to change. So if we can adjust that thought, that attitude somehow, and redefine it, that will allow the flow to open up, to allow the Mars trine Uranus to start acting then. And then all of a sudden, we've adjusted our attitude now. I feel like a lot more enthusiastic about embracing what could be. And I feel like this is a very, crux time where like the energy is working harmoniously with me to do this. And I can really focus this intense amount of energy right now that's available and concentrate it and make this big leap forward. So I think that's really what it's showing us, is like, that's where we have to look to see where the blockages are. We can perceive them as the events or the people or, whatever is going on around us. But really it's like the inner turmoil of all of us, which could be just rooted in the attitude that we have and the emotion that is attached to that attitude and then is triggered when change comes in. So it's like, it's not an easy assignment. I'm not saying it is, but the Mars trine to Uranus really gives us the ambition, enthusiasm, and the understanding that this is the time, that this is a very ripe time to do this. And somehow, like, maybe the feeling that knowing that at the end of this, there's a lot of like personal growth involved, that like you will really evolve by taking these chances and allowing some of this change in. So very interesting energy with this new moon. And I want to mention one last thing before I go this week. So next weekend, we have a Sun quincunx Neptune on Sunday. And this is very sensitive energy. We really pick up the energy of our environment and the people in our environment when there's a Sun quincunx Neptune. And the danger of that is that we can allow the environment or the people around us to drag us down, to actually suck us into whatever we're perceiving as something that's negative and draining our energy and that kind of thing. So this is the kind of energy you have to be aware that it can be really draining, and that that you can allow people to mislead you. You can allow people to victimize you, and then really undermine your own thoughts about yourself and how you feel about yourself. So it's really good to have some kind of buffer or separation energy between you and people or environments that are like that for you next weekend. And then the other thing is, since it's the sun, we have to be really cautious with our bodies in relation to this too. It will make us very sensitive physically too. So like allergies, drug sensitivities, illnesses, little body complaints, exhaustion, eating or partaking in the wrong things that drain energy from our bodies. Our bodies are going to be extra sensitive to all that stuff next weekend. So that's another thing to look out for when the sun is quincunx Neptune. All right, well, that's what I got for this week. This is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and this is a free service that I've been doing for years, actually. It's been a few years on YouTube now. It's video. For years before that, it was like audio podcasts, and before that, it was even a written podcast, and I've been doing it for free for a long time. And for my love of this amazing thing called astrology, science, art, practice, and wanting to share the knowledge and wisdom and the ability to, make our lives easier and help us have some understanding and personal growth for ourselves. And I want to share that with you. And what I'd like you to do is to share it with someone else now. I've been doing this freely a long time, and it doesn't take a lot to go into your contacts and find somebody else to share the link with. Probably less than a minute, right? So really would appreciate if you did that. And this is my occupation too. My main occupation is I'm a professional astrologer. And I think things changing in this world, we all need to support each other and and try to whatever you're doing, hopefully you're getting lots of support with, and we pay it forward, and we can redefine our reality, our economic reality for one another, and in this age of Aquarius, try to support what the natural gifts are that each individual has and what they're really meant to be here for. So, that all being said, hopefully you're getting that. You found that what you like to do and in your life, and that you're getting that kind of support. And this is what I love to do. So whenever you are ready to have a reading, or someone else that would like to reading and you don't have another professional astrologer, I would love to do that for you. I've been doing professional readings for over 20 years. I had 7 years of training to do that. And your chart is always with you. No matter where you go in this world, those energies are working, and it's really good to have the awareness of what they are so that you can have more control over how you want to have that energy come out. And it can bring a lot of self-empowerment, a lot of self-fulfillment to really know your chart well. I think it's, we spend money on a lot of material stuff that disappears almost instantly, really a small amount of gratification from it. This is something you will carry with you the rest of your life when you have this understanding. So I think it's worth every single penny that you get from it. And so when you're ready for something like that, or someone else's, and I know a lot of you can go online, get a reading done by a computer, you can read a book, you have a friend or something. It's not the same as a professional astrologer. Just like any other occupation, anyone who brings it up to a professional level has a lot more of a knowledge base that they come off of, and therefore can give you a lot more. So if you've never had it done by a professional astrologer and you're interested in that, please, get in touch with me. And also, just like I do these weekly predictives, I can do that for you too for a year. I call it a predictive reading. Once you understand your birth chart every year around your birthday, you should invest in a predictive reading. Give it as a gift to yourself so that you know what energy is going to affect you. Like, just a perfect example, like, if you're living in Hawaii and, there's a good chance if you had a professional astrologer prior, do a reading for you in this next year, they might have seen, hey, there's like some kind of intense energy in this area for you. Like there may be some kind of event that would affect you. That's the kind of thing that predictive can help you with. Also relationship charts. If you're in a new relationship or an old one, want to see what's happening in the old one or what brought you together in the new one, we can do that. Children's charts, if you have a child, want to learn how to best relate to them, the way their chart makeup energy is, and also the main events of their first 20 years, we can do that for you. Do fixed star readings for people who have already got a good understanding of their birth chart and can bring it to an even deeper level. Any kind of specific question or problem that you're having in life too, like, maybe career or relationship, which is two of the more popular ones, but anything, you can ask, we can look at your chart and see what's going on, see if you can find some direction, make some choices for yourself that'll be helpful and self-fulfilling. And also elections, if you're getting ready to start a business, get married, some important event, we can look at the stars and try to align the energy as best we can for long-term success for you. Horary charts, if you have some burning emotional question that you just can't seem to make a decision about, a lot of times we can look at a chart and it'll tell us, hey, this is the direction you want to go in this. And same thing, and then also if you're looking to move somewhere else and you want to see how that energy will affect your chart when you move somewhere else, or you're looking to parts of the world where you want to bring out a certain energy of your chart, we can do what we call relocation, astrocartography, look at your chart and see that too. So all kinds of services, and also beginners classes for anyone who really wants to take their astrology knowledge to a much deeper level. And then also, if you have a group and you want a class or a lecture or a workshop or mini readings or some kind of entertainment for your group, all those things I'm available for. So what you need to do is open the lines of communication. Don't be shy. Email me, matthure823@gmail.com. One more time, matthure823@gmail.com. All right, guys, going to be an interesting week and month with this new moon cycle. I say, embrace change, embrace change. Don't try to overreact to it. Try to be in the flow of what's going on and look at your own attitudes when you're resisting it. That is probably where the redefinition needs to be. Okay, I'll see you all next week. This is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds Channel, and you are about to pass that link on. Thank you.